Start. Hello. Yesterday I told you that we would learn more about vegetables and the different types or groups of vegetables that there are. This book is called The Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. Some things I'd like you to listen for are: which province in Canada grows the most vegetables of all the provinces? What's the difference between a perennial and an annual? What's a botanist? And what are the different groups of vegetables and how many groups are there? Here we go. You can see those bright, beautiful, delicious vegetables on the front. And right now is a very good time to start planting a garden if you're going to plant one, because the temperatures have warmed up, we're getting more sunshine, and it's the perfect time to start a garden. Perennials are plants that grow every year. You plant them one year and then they just keep coming back every spring. They look like they're dying off in the fall, but then in the spring they come to life again. Annuals are plants that you have to put in the ground every spring if you want them to grow. They don't come back up on their own. Well, look at all those vegetables. Vegetables are the parts of the plants that are growing to be eaten. Most vegetables are annuals. That means most vegetables we have to replant every spring. They don't come up after the winter if you don't plant them in the spring. They don't come up by themselves. There are a few of them that are perennials, but most of them are annuals and need to be replanted. It is good for us to eat vegetables. They are nutritious. That means they have lots of vitamins and minerals in them, and they help to keep our bodies strong and healthy. They're tasty too. So there's a family working together in the kitchen to make a salad for their supper. But there are different ways to eat vegetables. We don't have to just eat them in a salad. We could eat them on our plate after they've been boiled, like peas, carrots, and potatoes. We could eat them in a soup, all chopped up. We can eat them in a salad, but we can also eat them raw, and that's the healthiest way to eat them, because sometimes when we cook them, they lose some of those nutrients and minerals. If we eat them raw, they keep all the nutrition, and they're yummy that way, like carrot sticks, cucumber slices, raw broccoli, celery. Very healthy and nutritious. Vegetables grow to be different shapes, sizes, and colors. And here's some beautiful, bright vegetables. What do we see here? Corn, onions, tomatoes, cauliflower, beets, potatoes, carrots, asparagus, beans. What's your favorite vegetable? Well, all those vegetables are parts of different vegetable groups or families. And I'm going to tell you now there are 8 different vegetable groups. A botanist is a scientist who studies plants. And botanists tell us that there are 8 different kinds of plant groups. A botanist is a plant scientist. And the botanists say that the different plant groups, 8 of them, are the leaf group, the bulb group, the flower bud group, the root group, tuber, stem, fruit, and seed. We're going to take a little time to talk about each one of those 8 different types of vegetables. Now, you think the first group we're going to talk about are the leaf vegetables. Can you think of a leaf vegetable? If you said lettuce or cabbage or spinach, you're correct. Those are all leaf vegetables. Lettuce, cabbage, spinach, Can you think of a little vegetable that's sometimes called a baby cabbage? That's right, Brussels sprouts. Do you like to eat Brussels sprouts? Those are also part of the leaf vegetable family. And parsley is also an herb that we put on foods to make them have more flavor, and that's part of the leaf group too. So vegetables in the leaf group are spinach, lettuce, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and parsley. We're going to move on to the next vegetable group, and it's called the bulb vegetables. Can you think of a vegetable that's a bulb vegetable? If you said onion, you're correct. So there's a whole bunch of different types of onions, and they are from the bulb vegetable group. So we have the leaf vegetable group, the bulb vegetable group, and the next group is the flower bud vegetable group. What do you think might be in the flower bud vegetable group? Well, we have cauliflower, we have broccoli, and we have artichokes. They all have great big heads that kind of look like a flower. Cauliflower, broccoli, and artichokes are from the flower bud group. The next group is the root vegetables. Can you think of a root vegetable? The root grows under the ground and the stem is on top of the ground and we eat the root. If you said carrots, you're correct. There's also beets and parsnips. Parsnips look like carrots, but they're white. There's radishes, those little red roots that we sometimes chop up to put in our salad. There's turnip. Those are all root vegetables. So we had the leaf vegetables, we had the flower bud vegetables, the bulb vegetables like onions, and the root vegetables like carrots and parsnips. Next, we have the tuber vegetables. Can you think of those things that grow underneath the ground and we can pull them up and put them in our cellar and keep them all winter long? And we eat quite a few of them here in Canada. Those are the potatoes. Potatoes are tuber vegetables. There's different colors of potatoes. Did you know you could have purple potatoes? You might have eaten white ones or red ones. There's also yellow ones and purple ones. Those are tuber vegetables. So we've had the leaf vegetables, like lettuce, bulb vegetables like onions, flower bud vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, root vegetables like carrots, tuber vegetables like potatoes, and next we have the stem vegetables. And if you're thinking celery and rhubarb, those are both stem vegetables. And right now is a good time to pick rhubarb. It's been underneath the ground all winter long and it's sprouting up the big green leaves that have the dark red stems on them. You can pick rhubarb right about now and make a delicious rhubarb pie or muffins. There's the celery. You can see the long stem on it. And asparagus is also an early spring vegetable that would be growing right now and you could pick soon. And it's also got a long stem. Celery, asparagus, and rhubarb. Stem vegetables. Our next group is the fruit vegetables. Now, doesn't that sound kind of funny to you? You might think fruits and vegetables are opposite. But actually, fruits have seeds in them. So any vegetables with seeds in the middle are called the fruit vegetables. Did you know that tomatoes are fruits? Because they have seeds in the middle. We have little small tomatoes, big tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, and some other vegetables in the fruit vegetable group are pumpkins, because we find lots of seeds in the middle. Cucumbers, zucchinis, peppers have those little tiny seeds in the middle if you slice them open. Squash. These are all fruit vegetables. The next group are the seed vegetables. Now, can you think of a seed vegetable? If you said peas, you're right. Peas are actually seeds. Beans, green beans and yellow beans have those seeds right inside the pods. Corn. Did you know that when you're eating corn on the cob, you're actually eating seeds? Those individual kernels are seeds. So that's the seed vegetable group. There is one special kind of seed that we grow a lot of in Canada from the seed vegetable group, and it's called the soya bean. You can make lots of different things from soybeans. Some of them are food products that we eat, and some of them are even used to make things that we don't eat. So something that's a food that you might eat made from soybean is soybean oil, soybean tofu, soya sauce that you might pour on your rice, margarine, and some things made from soybeans that we don't eat are soap, paint, paper, plastic, and cloth. Now let's see if we can remember how many vegetable groups were there. If you said 8, 5 plus 3 more, then you're correct. 8 vegetable groups. Let's see if we can remember them together. First, we had the leaf vegetables. Then the bulb vegetables. The flower bud vegetables. The root vegetables. The tuber vegetables like potatoes. Stem vegetables like celery, like rhubarb. Fruit vegetables with seeds in them like tomatoes and corn, cucumbers. Seed vegetables like beans and peas and corn and soybeans. Those are our 8 vegetable groups. Now you might be thinking of growing a vegetable garden in your backyard, or maybe you've already planted it. But if you're thinking about planting it, there's certain things you'll need. And if you remember, Gailey and her brother Sebastian needed a hoe, a shovel, and a rake. And you can see that this family here has a shovel to dig up the soil, a rake to smooth it out, and a hoe to make straight rows. And there's their seeds and their bags of fertilizer, that special soil that they put on top of the earth they've dug up to give it more minerals and nutrients for the plants to eat. Some people plant starter plants, also called seedlings. Now, some people just use seeds to put in the ground. Some people plant baby plants that have already grown from seeds and have started into little seedlings, so they have a head start. Some people plant those seedlings in their garden. And usually the seeds or seedlings are planted in straight rows or in circles. And you can see that these people are working hard. You might see the straight lines, and sometimes people make those with a pole on each end and a string in the middle to make sure that the lines or the rows are straight. And you can see at the end here the packages of seeds that have pictures on them to help them remember what seeds they've planted in that row. These little wooden stakes here at the end are called trellises, and they might have tomato plants growing up them or some kind of vines. Once you have the garden planted and it started to grow, you have to weed it regularly, because not only the plants grow, but weeds grow, and they might choke out the plants if we don't pull them out. It also needs to be watered regularly, and the plants start to grow. So it gets sunshine, and If it rains, it gets water, but we also might need to water it more with a watering can or a sprinkler that the hose is attached to. In cities, people might not have as much room to grow a garden in their backyard, but they can grow a garden in containers, a smaller garden, maybe on their deck or their roof. And you can see that this family has grown some lettuce, some tomatoes, some green beans, and some peppers in containers that are on their rooftop. The vegetable plants will become bigger until they are ready for harvesting. And what does harvesting mean? It means when they've grown all summer long and they're ready to be picked in the late summer or early fall. And there's some people who have worked hard to take care of their garden that are excited to be picking it. They're harvesting their garden. Now, we might grow a small garden in a backyard or on our rooftop or deck, but farmers grow great big gardens in their fields that are full of crops that they sell to the grocery stores. And so they can't take care of those gardens with just a hoe and a rake and a shovel. They have to have machinery that attaches to their tractor to help them get their soil ready and plant their seeds. On the back of this tractor is a fertilizer, and you can see the dirt coming out the back. That's the special soil coming out the back to add nutrients to their fields to help their crops grow. That's called a fertilizer. This is a harrow. It smooths the soil and gets it ready for planting. We can't use a rake to do that in this field. We need this attachment to the tractor called the harrow. The plow, right here, this attachment with the circles on the bottom, turns the soil over. The harrow gets the big bumps out of it, and the planter here then plants the seeds after the soil has been prepared. It has big buckets, and the seeds come out the bottom and plant in the nice straight rows. So they need a fertilizer attachment for their tractor, a harrow, a plow, and a seeder. And they all attach to the back of their tractors. And they have different jobs. Big sprinkling systems are used to water the garden plants. At the end of the growing season, the vegetables are harvested. So they can't use a little watering can or a small sprinkler attached to the hose. They have great big sprinklers, and you can see one there. Last summer when I went to Arizona, and Arizona is very dry, it doesn't get much rain, it's a desert, but can you believe it? They had some big farms out there, and they watered their crops by these great big huge sprinklers, and they would have a whole line of them attached to each other that would go around and around in the field to water the crops. On the big farms, some vegetables are picked by hand. They would probably hire a whole bunch of workers, but also others are harvested by machines that are attached to the tractor. And here is a harvester attached to this tractor at the end of the growing season, harvesting the vegetables. Refrigerator trucks haul the vegetables to the processing plants where they get them ready for selling. They are washed and sorted. Some of them are frozen, some of them are canned, and the rest will be sold fresh. The vegetables are shipped to the stores near and far away for people to buy. So first, refrigerator trucks take them from the farms to the processing plant where they're washed and they're put in containers, and some of them are tied together in bunches to be sold fresh to the grocery store. And then they're put in trucks to go to the grocery store. Some of them are put on ships if they're coming from across the ocean. At the grocery stores, fresh vegetables are on display. You've probably been into the grocery store and seen a whole bunch of fresh vegetables out. Canned vegetables are on the shelves, and frozen vegetables are found in the freezers. So you can buy them fresh, canned, or frozen in different sections in your grocery store. In the summer, have you ever driven by a farm in the country and seen fresh vegetables out on a stand in front of the farmhouse? Some people buy fresh vegetables at farm stands. It's fun to pick out what to buy. Look at all those delicious vegetables. Well, at the beginning of this story, I asked you, what province in Canada do you think grows the most vegetables? Of all the other provinces of Canada, our province, Ontario, grows the most vegetables in all of Canada. That's something to be proud of. I hope you've learned a lot about vegetables, why they're good for you, different types of vegetables, and how to grow your own garden. And that's it for today. The vegetables we eat.